Welcome back to the News Hub here at WSJ Live. I'm Simon Constable. Well, there are lots of voter initiatives on the ballot, including gay marriage today. And with the summary of all that, we got Ashby Jones, our legal reporter here at the Wall Street Journal. And there he is.
Hello.
Thank you very much for being here. You've been very busy. Let's go through some of these. The gay marriage one is the first one. Where is that on the ballot?
Gay marriage is on the ballot in a number of states, and I think it's 4 different states: Washington, Maine, I believe, Maryland, and one other state that I'm having trouble recalling right now. But it's basically the same, putting to the voters this question whether or not same-sex marriage should be legal. What's interesting is that no state in which it is legal have voters approved it. It's always been an act of the legislature or the court striking down a law, something like that. So if any of these passes, it will be the first time that voters voted in their approval of same-sex marriage.
And this is a very divisive issue. People feel very strongly about it, seemingly one way or the other. Now, another thing that's on the voter initiative is marijuana, making it legalized, and that's in a few Western states, right?
Yeah, this is really fascinating for a variety of reasons. But 3 states, Oregon, Washington, and Colorado, have proposed changing their criminal laws to allow recreational use of marijuana. So this is different from the medical marijuana states where use of medical marijuana is allowed. In these, they're going to if these pass,
that's going to be in contradiction to federal law, which is supposed to supersede everything.
Well, that's exactly right, and it sounds right now like the Colorado initiative could very well pass, and if that in fact happens, you're exactly right. You've got this thing set up where you've got a contradiction with federal law. And it's really going to force the hand of the Obama administration or the Romney administration to figure out how to deal with this.
There's got to be a joke here about maybe they'll be too high to go to the polls or something like that.
I'll let you make it.
Okay, well, there you go. I just made it, but I mean it's fine. Okay, not so funny now. California has a death penalty vote there that is coming up. How's that likely to go?
Right now, the polling's been very close. The supporters of Proposition 34 in California, which proposes to outlaw the death penalty in that state, they have to get over 50% of the vote. And right now, the polls seem to show that they're somewhere at 45 to 47% range. That the yes votes are outpolling the no votes, but they still need to get above that threshold under the California laws. So I think they have a ways to go there. It's probably going to be a very, very close vote. But this is very significant because this would be probably the largest blow to the death penalty since it was outlawed by the U.S. Supreme Court back in 1972. Of course, it was reinstated 4 years later. But this would be huge. I mean, a quarter of all death row inmates are in California. Yeah. And really, I've written about this, but they really want to get rid of it because of the cost. It's just too costly to administer. So it's really
tremendously
interesting.
Costly because of all the appeals
exactly.
and all that legal process that has to be gone through multiple times.
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
Okay, now there's other stuff relating to death. This is assisted suicide and abortion rights in Florida. Tell us about that.
Right. Well, the assisted suicide is actually in Massachusetts, and it is a. It's whether or not voters are going to change the criminal laws again to allow physician-assisted suicide. This is legal in only 2 states, Washington and Oregon. It's been on the books there for a long time.
And this assisted suicide was made famous by Jack Kevorkian in Michigan.
That's right.
And he's in jail now for that, I understand.
I think Kevorkian, if he's still alive, he's in jail. Yeah. But he was doing that in complete contradiction of Michigan state law back in the day. Massachusetts, the arguments on the one hand, everybody should have the ability to control how they die. Yeah. On the other hand, the opponents of this see room for a lot of abuse. That if somebody's sick, incapacitated, there might be a lot of persuasion going on to try to get them to end the life, to ease the burdens on the family. So that will be very interesting to watch as well.
Will that end up, if a voter initiative does go through on something like that, legalizing assisted suicide, will that end up going to the Supreme Court, and will people challenge that and say, that doesn't fit with our Constitution or something like that?
It could. So far, that I don't know if I'm not aware of any challenges that have been made to the Washington or Oregon statutes. They may well have, and it may well have gone up to the appeals court, but not to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court, maybe they could get into this, but I don't see that happening right away. Not quite.
Now, abortion in Florida, what's the issue there?
The abortion question that I was sort of think is possibly the most interesting out there is in Montana, and it's another one of these parental notification requirements that you put into the law, and you'd say, you've got to, if you want to get an abortion and you're under a certain age, you have to get a written consent from your parent, and in order to have that happen. What's interesting about abortion in this day and age is that a lot of this is playing out in the courts and at state legislatures. Not a lot of abortion-related initiatives are given to voters, actually. So it's really an issue that has moved away from the electorate and into the state legislatures.
Very quickly, I'm told to move on, but I got to know this. Why do some things make it to a voter initiative and other things are just left to our representatives to duke it out on their own?
It's a great question. There are books written about it. The very short answer is that every state decides how they want to do this. In California, for instance, everything is a referendum, everything's an initiative.
Yeah.
That's just the way California has set up its system. In other states, everything has to go through the legislature. It's just
like here in New York.
Like here in New York.
Like here in New York. Great stuff, as always. Well, a lot of knowledge you have there. Thank you very much. Ashby Jones
Thanks.
for our legal desk, and more on that on WSJ.com.